In this lab, we will be discussing bases, acids, pH, and pH reading. The pH reader that we are using contains a computer component and a reader component, as shown. Before we are able to properly ascertain the pH of an unknown solution, we must thoroughly clean and calibrate the pH reader. As seen, before the calibration, it is rinsed in clean water. The light yellow solution is a buffer. A buffer is a component that can withstand a certain pH change without altering its physical components. As seen, before it is dipped into a new substance, the pH reader needs to be thoroughly cleaned in water, and in between, it needs to be stored in water. As we obtain a proper reading, as indicated by a stabilization of voltage on the small computer screen, we must select the strength of the buffer and then select Keep. Now that the pH meter is calibrated, we will be testing the strength of an acid. The acid being used is orange juice. In red, it is shown the pH. It is important to note that the pH stabilizes completely before you take your reading. As you can see, before each new substance is used, the reading apparatus is thoroughly cleaned. As before, a new substance is being read, so we will recalibrate the pH reader. The same method is used, making sure that the voltage is stable, and then selecting the pH of the buffer, and selecting Keep. The acid being measured now is apple juice. It is important to note the difference between a strong and a weak acid. A weak acid will dissociate only partially when combined with water, meaning that there will be some water, some molecules of the acid, and some ions of the acid, whereas a strong acid will dissociate entirely, containing only water and ions at the end of the reaction. As before, we recalibrate the meter with the testing of a new substance. The buffer, because of its resistance to pH change, will allow for an evening out and a proper reading of pH. The substance now being tested is distilled water. As with all substances, it is important that you make sure that your pH is stable before making your final recording. We now see Sarah calibrating and cleaning the pH reader for our final reading of tap water. We will now test the pH of tap water.